All right, man. Happy Feast of Tabernacles Day 6. I pray y'all had a safe, comfortable night. Hope y'all are up energetic this morning. Give all praise and glory to the Most High El, our Shaddai, our Raah, our Yasha, our Shalom. This is Raah from the THWministry coming to you again with another short lesson today. This lesson, man, we're just going to cover some current events, man, and just see what the scripture have to say. I think our topic today, we're going to deal with crime today, saints. Our topic today, we're going to deal with crime this early day, and yeah, let's deal with some current events, man, because there's a lot of craziness going on, right? And I think a lot of saints around the world, I think a lot of religious people are numb to what's going on. They're more sympathetic to criminals. And if we the children of the Most High, that wouldn't have been so back in the day. So let's go through some scriptures, man. We got to take a look at this, right? So let's just get a baseline of what we're talking about, right? Crime. A crime is an illegal act or an omission, failing to act that is forbidden and punishable by law. That's crime, right? An act that is forbidden, punishable by law. It is a harmful action that society has deemed wrong and that can result in legal consequences such as fines or imprisonment. Crime, an act of crime or activity that considered to be shameful, wrong, or mistaken. That's a crime, right? So that's our baseline, right? Of crime, right? Let me greet everyone, right? I know depending on where you are, many of you have not even gotten up yet, right? So I understand. I'm trying to get this lesson done before these flies get out, right? I think the flies follow the path of the sun. I mean, by noon, man, between noon to 6, it's just fly heaven, right? They're everywhere. And I'll be just swatting trying to teach if I wait any later. That's why I've been trying to go sooner and sooner every morning, right? So happy Feast Tabernacles Day 6, right? We're talking about crime today, right? Shameful and wrong actions that are punishable by law. We're going to talk about some current event topics today, saints. Let's look at this. This slide ain't very friendly, y'all. Let's look at some recent things. We're in Texas. Let's look at what's going on in Houston, right? They say almost 53 bodies have been found in the bayous of Houston in the past 3 years. 53 bodies, y'all. What's going on in Houston? That kind of crime right there where you're taking out lives, saints. What would be the punishment for that person when they're found? I can remember back in the 90s when I was coming up, running through Texas. There was a serial killer back in Houston back then, running around through the city of Houston, running around through Texas. They had a serial killer issue then. And now here we are in 2025. They got the same issue going on. It doesn't matter. This serial killer isn't particular to a race, to a gender. I mean, it's just bodies dropping and being found in the bayou. Does that criminal deserve life in prison? Or does that criminal deserve the punishment equal to the crime that they committed? What do you think the scripture, what do you think the Almighty Creator feels should happen to someone who's taken it upon themselves to delete 53 people? That's just 53 people found in Houston, in the bayous. But the person or persons that have committed such a heinous crime, why, if they are caught, would they get life imprisonment? Would not it be just that the Almighty give them an equal and just punishment to the crime that they committed? Happy feast, El Real. All love. Man, we talking about current events. We talking about all these bodies popping up in Houston and what is on the minds of saints, right? We're talking about, have the saints of the Most High become numb? Have they become tolerant of criminals? Do we find over the world that no one is speaking up when such heinous crimes are happening? What should happen to these criminals? Or better yet, what would the Creator do to such people committing such heinous and violent acts, right? So we went over the definition of crime, right? And so, you got to ask AI. You got to ask AI, say, hey, what is crime in the Bible, right? What does the Bible say crime is? And what is the punishments for crime? So when you ask AI or you ask Google, it says a crime in the Bible is generally referred to as a sin. Wait a minute. I would agree that whatever crimes are being committed today in the world, the Most High would consider most of those crimes a sin. So sin is equal to crime. So if you say crime, you're really saying sin. Have we as saints just watered down what we're talking about? When we get our religious hat on, we're talking about sin, but really we're talking about crimes committed. Now, the question that we got to talk about today is crime committed against who? When we say the word sin, and we know sin is equal to crime, so the crime is committed against who? So when religious people talk, you're sinning against God or you're sinning against the commandments. Wait a minute. Sin equals crime. So we're committing a crime against the Most High. We're committing a crime against the commandments. Most people don't talk about it like that, right? So when our family members and friends out there, or when we was young and we was out there committing crimes, you don't really what's that word? You don't really correlate, or you don't really see sin in the crime when you're out there committing crime, right? And then when you come to the truth and you say sin, you don't really look at sin as the crime. But sin and crime is the same thing, right? So this goes on to say a crime in the Bible is generally referred to as a sin, which is a transgression against God's law, such as murder, theft, and adultery. So when crime is being committed in the world, they don't correlate crime with breaking the laws or transgressing the laws of the Most High. So when we see our family members and friends committing crimes, or when we're committing crimes, whether it's petty thefts, whether it's credit card scams, check scams, it ain't murder, it ain't that. So, just how people water down sin is the same way the world water down crime. If your crime gets you put in jail and puts you in prison, who cares what crime you committed? You in the same place as the murderers, the thieves, the stabbers, the jackers, you in there with the same people. Who really cares what crime you committed? You're in there with the same horrendous people. You have been counted worthy of a low-based person, and they have been put in prison, right? So in the Bible, it says punishments in the Bible varied, including death by stoning, burning, beheading, or severe offenses like murder, for serious offenses like murder and blasphemy. For property crimes, punishment often involved paying back more than the value of what was stolen. Other forms of punishment included exile, fines, or various forms of imprisonment. Listen, crime and sin is the same thing. Here's what was taken away. The Most High was taken away. The Most High was taken away. So now people don't call them sin no more. They call them crime. And nobody's thinking about the laws of the Most High anymore. People are thinking about the laws of the land. They're thinking about the government, the FBI, the sheriffs, the Congress, right? That's what happened. Man came in and replaced the role of God, thus taking away the word sin and transgression and replacing it with the word crime. Now you got man falling, or man creating laws that aren't lawful, and man not being just in their judgments against their crime, and they're not even including God. All day they come to court and say, place your right hand on the Bible, lift your left, or whichever way it is. They don't care nothing about Most High laws. They don't care nothing about his judgments. You pay the judge a certain amount of money, and that criminal who sinned has gotten off. He can get off. You pay the attorney, you threaten the attorneys, you threaten the juror, you pay the jurors. Like, this system is not just. But the system has been unjust a long time. They've been taking the Most High out of it, right? And they just started changing terms. Instead of sin, transgression is crime, right? And instead of commandments, now they got amendments, right? We got amendments. We got all these different kind of names for different kind of laws created by man. So now when you see crimes, which are really sins being committed, now the jurisdiction has been put in man's hands. And if men are in sin, how are they going to justly incriminate another criminal who's in sin, right? That criminal in our case, he's back there. This criminal that we have in Houston, he's out here slaying 50 bodies, doing whatever to the bodies, and then dumping them in the bayou. What's different than the lawyer who's involved in real estate embezzlement, or the judge who still is involved with child trafficking and slavery, right? Or pedophilia? How is someone that is unjust gonna give a just determination to someone, right? Let's keep going. Let's get a scripture. Let's go to I think it's 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel chapter 15. Let's read something here, because we're going to talk about some current events this morning, and how saints and even different religions, or even our leaders who say they are Christians and they believe in God or Jesus or whatever, they are numb and watered down, and they are compromising. They are more sympathetic and empathetic to their criminal relatives because of their sinful behavior than even following the ways of Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Allah, whoever, right? And even in the so-called truth are Yahweh Shai, El, right? Believers are more sympathetic to criminals than they are fearful against the Most High. Look at this. 1 Samuel 15, verse 22, it says, and Samuel said, hath the Most High as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, or in obeying the voice of the Most High? Behold, to obey the Most High is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. So whatever traditions and ceremonies religions try to put together to make you feel like you are holy, righteous, and pure before the Most High, all these traditions that they want to hold people to in religion, listen, It's better to obey the word of the Most High, right? I would beg to say every Abrahamic religion and majority of religious people in America got the same Holy Bible, but the majority of them, 85% plus, don't follow the word of the Most High and the commandments of the Most High. So see, it's problematic. It's if you don't know what sin is, you're more likely to commit sin, right? And if you see sin, or if you see crime and you don't know it's sin, you're going to be more sympathetic to the criminal, because in Christianity, they teach that that person is just one confession away from salvation, right? So somehow we got to try to save this criminal, this sinner, right? So most time sinners go without punishment, criminals go without just punishment for their crime, because of the sympathy of so-called believers who themselves say they have turned from their wicked ways, but they've just become compromisers and condoners of criminal and sinful activity. Listen, sister, brother, it's simple. Whoever's running the land, whoever's the head of nations, whoever's running churches and synagogues and listen, every man, woman, and child should be following the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. Even in Scripture, the king should obey the laws of El. I say should, because over the children of Israel, there never should have been a king. But the Most High knew that the people were idolatrous or covetous of the nations, and the people wanted a leader that they could physically see. Here's the problem. In the beginning, the leaders followed the laws of El. But over time, the leaders like leading people, just like today, so then they begin to become gods themselves. It don't matter what religion it is. They became their own gods. The people worship the leaders, kings, prime ministers, emperors, governors, mayors, whatever title you put on them. And then Christianity comes about and it reinforces this. But let's go look back when people followed the Most High. Let's go and look at this scripture here. It is in the book of Jeremiah. Let's go see what Jeremiah has to say. And you can see it also in the book of Deuteronomy. But let's look at Jeremiah chapter 22 and let's read verse 1 through 3. Jeremiah chapter 22. Jeremiah 22, and we're going to start at verse 1. See what it say about the king. Jeremiah 22 and 1. Thus saith the Most High, go down to the house of the king of Judah, and speak there this word, and say, hear the word of the Most High, O King of Judah, that sittest upon the throne of Dawood, thou and thy servants and thy people that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Most High, execute ye judgment and righteousness, and deliver the spoiled out of the hand of the oppressor, and do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, to the fatherless, nor the widow, neither shed innocent blood in this place. For if ye do this thing indeed, then shall there enter in by the gates of this house kings sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, he and his servants and his people. But if ye will not hear these words, I will swear by myself, said the Most High, that this house shall become a desolation. Clear instructions to the king who is leading the chosen seed of Israel, or at this point, Judah, because we might have had a division in the family. But the leaders who were put over when Israel was one nation followed the words of the Most High. They followed the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So what happens when you commit crime or crime is sin? So they create new words to move you away from Torah, from biblical principles. So they move you away by saying crime criminals instead of sin sinners, transgressors. So if the leaders are supposed to follow and lead by Torah and the people are supposed to follow Torah, then everyone's following the Most High Creator. People aren't out here trying to look at men as someone to follow as just and righteous people. So that's where we kind of went wrong, right? So look at this. You see people debating about ICE. Let me ask you something about ICE, right? Is ICE out here going through cities going after innocent people, or are they going after criminals? I'm just asking a question. Who is ICE going after? Who is ICE saying they're going after? ICE said they're going after who? Criminals. All right. So in Dallas, Texas, ICE headquarters was attacked. Who they say attacked ICE headquarters? They said the cartel attacked the ICE headquarters. So who is the cartel trying to protect? Are they trying to protect righteous people, or the cartel trying to protect its own employees? So why would righteous children of the Most High be interceding in whatever ICE is doing? If ICE is saying they're cleaning up and they're going after criminals that are in this place illegally, we're not even going to talk about the government and their right standing status here in the Americas. We're just talking about the laws of the land. So if ICE is going after criminals and the cartel is fighting ICE because their employees are being detained and sent back, which is messing up their money, I don't see, Sister Christine, that's fake news that ICE is going after Negroes. ICE is going after blacks. In Chicago, ICE detained an apartment complex that the mayor has put Venezuelans in that apartment complex where black people were the majority who lived in that area. Those Venezuelans became criminals and terrorized the neighborhood. Thus, ICE came in and they detained everyone, but they only arrested the illegal immigrants. The Negroes that have always lived there, nothing happened to them. That was a lot of fake news going around. ICE is not going into these cities detaining Americans, true Americans, the Negro, right? So eventually what's going to happen, I'm telling you, I'm going to be prophetic. What's going to happen is that people are going to see that all melanated people are not the same. There are some melanated people who disguise themselves as black, but they're immigrants. They're not from America. They're not originally the indigenous Aboriginal people from America. They came and their ancestors came from somewhere else. Eventually, people are going to have to prove, saints, they're going to have to prove their lineage. That's why I've been saying the work on your lineage and who you come from needs to happen. You're eventually going to have to prove who you are and that your people didn't come here as immigrants, because they're attacking immigrants, and they're attacking immigrants of all races and all status. Anyone that came through that DACA program by the Democrats, that's who they're going after. The people who aren't legally trying to get the paperwork to stay here. Like DACA and Biden then brought in a whole bunch of people and gave them food stamp cards and stuff, and they didn't even have any paperwork. They're not even trying to get any paperwork. They're just here living their best life. And the fake news by our bloggers and our media, it's like, why are we even in it? Our people aren't being detained and taken. But listen, our people are criminals. So we're going to touch on that later. ICE ain't got nothing to do with the Negroes, our people that's criminals. That's not ICE. We're going to get there in a minute. Just hold on a second, though. You made a right comment, but it ain't ICE going after the Negroes. We're going to hold on a second here. So let's go to Titus chapter 3, verse 1, right? And let's touch on what happened after Christianity. So after Christianity comes in, then we get these Greek documents, and all through these Greek documents, which is called the New Testament, now all of a sudden we start getting some speech and some lingo that we never heard in the so-called Old Testament. We ain't hear none of this in the Old Testament, right? Now we get some new teaching, like new teaching to live by. Not no new Torah, not no new laws from the Most High. We got some new societal doctrines that we got to live by, right? So now in Christianity, we get this guy named Paul, who is Paul. Now he comes in and starts teaching people to be good slaves and good stewards and good servants to man, not to the Most High. Look what this dude say, right? Titus 3:1, he said, put them in mind to be subject to principalities, powers, and to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work. Man, what the heck is Paul talking about, y'all? Let's go look at it in some other Bible versions. What in the world, this Paul who comes with this new revelation after Jesus ascends and goes away, now here comes this guy Paul who's a Roman, but he's supposed to be Hebrew, right? Duality, go figure that. So now Paul is saying in the New International Version, remind the people to be subject to rulers and authorities, to be obedient, to be ready to do whatever is good. New Living Translation, remind the believers to submit to the government and its officers. They should be obedient, always ready to do good work. To man, y'all show me that in the Old Testament where the Most High is saying, be obedient to the government, to officers, to men. This ain't talking about love thy neighbor. This is literally propaganda in scripture that you don't find nowhere in the Old Testament. The Old Testament tell you to be mindful, to be obedient to the Most High, to his law, statutes, and commandments. Oh, if you want a king, hey, king, you need to be obedient to my law, statutes, commandments, and judge the people righteously according to my law, statutes, commandments, or you won't be king. Hey, ruler, hey, Nebuchadnezzar, whoever you are, you need to be following the laws of the Most High, or you won't be king. Never in the Old Testament are you going to hear prophets and men of the Most High telling you to follow the laws of your colonizer. You are never going to hear it. You're never going to hear the Most High say, hey, I put you in the land of Egypt, obey Egypt. That ain't even how the Israelites came into Egypt. And even after Egypt turned on them and started being hard slave masters, the Most High was trying to get a plan to get them up out of there. They wasn't just happy old slaves in Egypt. Hey, maybe some of them kind of loved their colonizer, kind of like we do today. But man, if we're going to complain that the laws is unjust, why in the world would we follow a religion where it would tell us to follow the men who uphold this unjust laws? That's why I'm saying they've made us through propaganda and through for horrible blasphemous religion. They made us compromisers and condoning sinful ways. The sin fact, hey, don't say nothing about your slave master. Hey, master, we sick. Well, we only sick because we eating horrible food. We living in poor conditions. Hey, master, brother Johnny and them trying to run away. We got to go get them because, hey, we can't lose no slaves, master. What the heck is going on here? Hey, master, hey, the Sabbath is coming. Hey, master, we ain't supposed to work. You think the slave master let the slaves keep the Shabbat? Let them keep the European Sabbath? We don't do no work on Sunday. That's propaganda through movies, y'all. They treated you like dogs. They still treat us like animals and dogs, less than. They don't care about no rights. We don't have no rights, saints. Be subject to the rulers that allow corporations to redline our communities, the same rulers that took money for them to gentrify us, the same rulers that voted that 3 strikes rule to put and lock up all of our young people. Follow them. They don't care nothing about the Bible, religion, nothing. This is the biggest hoax. Religion is a weapon. The leaders that uphold it and the leaders that push these false religions are paid to do so. To do what? Keep you in confusion, to keep you separate from your creator, and to keep you subservient to them and their laws. Let's keep going. So here it is, Sister Christine. Here's where the Negroes have a problem. Our communities have been many years have been overran by criminals. Our cousins, our brothers, our uncles, since the 90s, our steppers, when our uncles and aunties and daddies was YNs. And then when we was living as X generation coming up through the 90s, right? Going through the crack epidemic and so on and so on. Now it's fentanyl or whatever. Listen, our community is overridden with crime. What would the children of Israel, if we the chosen people, what would our forefathers have done with criminals, sinners back in the day? That's what we own in this topic of this lesson, right? I'm trying to stay on topic. We're talking about current events, but the Negroes in our community that is committing crimes, what would the forefathers have done with the criminals when we were in rulership, y'all? That's the question. See, it ain't ICE ain't going after the Negroes. The National Guard is going into the cities that want them there, and they're getting the Negroes. Your cousin, Man, Pookie, and all of them. Oh, that's my nephew. I love him. Oh, the National Guard came and got my cousin. Get them Negroes off the street. How you gonna think you live in peace? See, you comfortable where you at, but you ain't worried about your kinfolk that's in Stop 6, Como, Memphis, Compton, and all these places where the gangs control. See, ICE went after the illegal immigrants, and who came to fight for them? The cartel. So where you think these Negroes is getting their dope from? Who you think has got the battery in the back of your cousins them selling their little ounces of weed and selling their drugs? Where they get it from? It's a two-part answer. Some of their crack come from the cartel, some of their crack come from the alphabet government. They'll put the dope and they'll put the gun in the hands. But listen, our community is overridden with crime, y'all. Stop being pacifiers and condoners of criminals' activity. Oh, Raah, but you was a criminal. I was. See, key word. I was committing crime. I did get in trouble for my wrongdoing. I did pay my debt to society. Did you? Did you? Are you a criminal that has not gotten punished for your criminal ways yet? Oh, we talking about sin. Wait, sin is crime, crime is sin, saints. So don't muddy the waters. Your relatives is out here committing crimes, and they're committing crimes where your aunties and grandmamas can't sit on their porch and can't walk up and down the street to go get groceries without getting robbed by these young YNs, by your grandchildren, by your nieces and nephews. They can't walk up and down the street in these communities. It's so bad that the cops is on the payroll and the cops is working for the criminals, and now you can't even call the police because the same criminal that you called on the car, he gonna be let out by the same police that he paying because the police don't make no money. So now you gotta have the National Guard come in and clean up the whole dirty conspiracy. So then where does that stand with saints? I'm asking you a question. What do you think Caleb, Joshua, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, what do you think the forefathers would have done to the criminals in the hood and to the cops that's on the payroll? Because sin is crime and crime is sin. So ain't nobody judging, ain't nobody shaming in the church. And now the church is compromised. So now these same church people are living in the same communities. The criminals is already compromised. The cops is on the payroll. The councilmen, aldermen, the lawyers, the judges is on the payrolls. The system is unjust. So who cleans it up? What is your mindset? Oh, my hometown, the National Guard just came and sweeped up the criminals. Good riddance to them. What you on Facebook talking to your nephews and nieces that's committing credit card scams and identity theft and robbing people? You in the truth. You a child of the Most High, and you sitting up here going to Thanksgiving, sneaking around, having family cookouts. You going to family reunions. You just chumming it up with your family members as criminals. You the problem. In any religion, you the problem. You the compromiser. You the one that's condoning man and sissy and Becca and whatever the nicknames is for your females and man. They all out here committing crimes. The girls setting up men in hotels, bubbling them coming out the closet, jacking them, taking chains, taking money, like all the crimes they doing. And you got Big Mama and them sitting back scared because they don't want to get beat up by their own grandchildren, wicked nieces and nephews. How would the Creator, did not the Creator have a plan to purge out wickedness? If the law of the land and the men and women that you love and vote for ain't doing it, who's supposed to do it? Because you know in scripture, the Most High will use other nations to clean up your problems when you don't clean up problems in your own family. Fact. The Most High will use the other nations. You could put names, you could put agencies, alphabets, whoever it is. Who's supposed to clean up your community so your kids can go play at the park safe and not be picking up syringes and vials and crack and marijuana buds and getting high and drunk and becoming part of the same cycle that the National Guard gonna come after. You don't want the cops to come after them. Oh, we scared of the National Guard. Y'all wasn't scared of the cops? No, the cops was paid for. Cops was paid off. Cops was dirty. Now they got the National Guard coming in. The people where the National Guard been, they say, hey, thank you for coming. So how are we on the outside living in our safe plush world? Why would we have something to say? Where we ain't living in them places. And if you hear this message and you are living there, why would you be mad that someone comes and cleans up your neighborhood unless you are condoning and your relatives is the problem or you the problem and you don't want to be cleaned up? Let's keep going. Let me get off that one. Let's go to the next one. Let's see. It's all through this so-called New Testament lies, right? Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2. This is what we've been brainwashed. All of us that's been in Christian churches, this is how we've been brainwashed by the propaganda lies of Christianity. This is why we sitting back and we just watching the news like, oh, darn shame. Oh, man, that's sad. That's going on. Oh, I shouldn't be doing that because, you know, the Mexicans was here first. Man, it was war's fault for this stuff. It's been war's fault in the Bible. People die for land. It's rules set in place for you to be safe. If the rules ain't followed, then we ain't safe. I don't understand you taking your safety for granted. You just think you're going to live in peace with criminals running around. You ain't been a victim yet. It's just a matter of time. If the criminals is out of control, who's going to protect you from the crime? Yeah, Brother Dale, the relatives, you reaping the reward for keeping your mouth shut. Yeah, they paying for the whole cookout. They giving money to everybody. They helping fix your car and get your keeping your lights on. Yeah, auntie and mama them been big time compromised, right? Big compromise. You right, Art. That's why family don't say nothing, man, because the criminals, man, I seen it with my own eyes. You get Big Mama and them, you pay some bills, you put some groceries in the refrigerator. Hey, they're going to be in court saying, y'all arrest my son unjustly. Y'all are a terror to the community. No, your son is a terror to the community. Your daughter and them in them gangs, they the ones terrorizing people. You hear me? 1 Peter chapter 2, watch. They're going to say it again. 1 Peter chapter 2, what you say, Michael? They quick to call cops on the other nations and police that do us wrong, but won't call on their own relatives. Facts. Snitches get stitches yet, but they kicking in anti-dough. Yeah, they done took the copper off Pawpaw's house, right? They done stole Mama new Benz and took it to the chop shop. But ain't nobody saying nothing. We the dumbest generation of people, man. We don't police our own families or our own people, and that's why we are screwed up. It's not biblical. We the most religious and the most crime-ridden nation on the earth. We are. We commit crimes and sin against ourselves. Shh. Don't judge. Don't shame. Definitely don't tell the popo. They dirty too. 1 Peter 2:13. Look at this. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Most High sake. Man, you don't see that nowhere in Scripture. The New Testament is not Scripture. You don't hear no prophet saying, submit yourself to the ordinances of man. What if the man's ordinances is illegal and corrupt and unjust? How you gonna follow the ordinance of man knowing that they don't put so many in the 60s, so many men away? They done came and killed my uncles talking about they looked at a white woman, talked to a white woman. Y'all remember Jim Crow? How unjust is Jim Crow? And Jim Crow was your judges, your lawyers, your firemen, your police officers. That was them. You couldn't walk in the same city, and as soon as they spot one of your sons or daughters, it's over with. The law was Jim Crow. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Most High sake, whether it be the king is corrupt, as supreme, or unto governors. What if your state governor is corrupt? As unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers. Why they got to be sent for the punishment? Why can't they be for the good of the people? Hey, when governors and people are running for office and senators run, are they talking about elect me because I'm going to take care of evildoers? No, all they doing is debating about is what? Crime, abortion, what else? The same topics every year. They ain't voting talking about nothing that matters. But now here go Peter. The book of Peter is now all of a sudden Peter, who was at odds with Paul, now he regurgitating the same mess. Hey, submit yourselves to the ordinances and whatever man say. Whether governors, king, supreme, because they are sent by the Most High to punish evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. Man, when is the last time you seen a governor or king or praise? When you see a ruler praise people for doing well? Well, we just want to give some tax cuts to the people that have been obeying us well. We want to send some. Wait a minute. We don't want to bless the people that have not committed crimes. You don't see nothing like that ever, where people are being rewarded for following the laws of the land. Let's go look at this in the NIV, right? Let's look at verse 13 in the NIV, man. Look at this. Submit yourselves for the Lord's sakes to every human authority. Come on. Our colonizers make us. They lock us up. They beat us. They burn us. They've fed us alligators. They've lynched us in town squares. Listen, they don't care nothing about you obeying. They make you obey. Nothing about the colonizer is friendly, and they don't reward you. Oh, okay, Master gave us a good piece of chicken. Oh, we don't eat chitlins and hog maw. Gave us a ham. Master gave us a pig ears, and Master gave us some pig feet. Like, how is the Master reward us? I don't understand. Like yourself to the authority of man, how has that benefited us? Look, whether to be emperor or to be supreme authority or governors who are sent by him. Now mayors and governors and chiefs of police and generals and presidents, now they are sent to punish those who do wrong and to commend those who do right. Y'all, this is Christianity here, y'all. All we had to do is obey the Most High. Every nation, everybody, every ruler, all people. Christians come along, no, obey our authority, obey our rules, obey our leaders, obey Pontius Pilate, obey Edomite Herod that we put in place, obey our rules and our leaders, whoever we put in place. And if we don't put them in place, you don't got to listen to them. Come on, man, what is going on? What's going on here? How about this young man in Mississippi, y'all? It happened during COVID. Like, where's the church? Where's the church who is our people? Where they at? Where are people? Where they at, y'all? Where all of these holy, righteous, Holy Ghost filled people speaking in tongues? I ain't see nobody march on that city square or go to that university. I didn't see the World Faith Ministries. I didn't see Creflo Dollar Church. I didn't see Jamal Bryant. I ain't nobody out there mega churches with 30,000. I ain't see none of these people send altars. I ain't see the NAACP. I did see the new Black Panther Party out there, right? I did see a few groups, but if crime is sin and sin is crime, where are the religious people when they see our people being in bayous, being hung on trees, being shot down? It should be a million man time if you upset with it, if you through with it, if you're not content with it. Oh, our people like, it ain't happen here, it ain't near me, it ain't my son. Oh, we just gonna pray for the family. You a sinner. You a condoner. What prayer? What you praying to Jesus? It's worthless. How has prayer kept the colonizer and the slave master from killing, raping, lynching, robbing our people? How has it helped? How is praying to Jesus all these decades? How has it helped our people? Oh, we're just going to forgive them. How has that helped us? It's 2025. Our people getting lynched. Down in Jackson, right? Dead bodies showing up in the jail cell. That's a majority Black city. Who's doing the killing? It might be, is it our police? Is the police officers look like us, but may not be? Who killing people? Excuse me, unaliving people. I can say what I want. Oh, our preachers getting paid to stay silent, and they keep their church silent. That's crazy work. That's crazy work, saints. Let me try to move that, man. What they say? He was found hanging on a tree. Yeah, I give Caesar what is Caesar. Forget Caesar. You know, from our studies at the highest way, the person until there was no more people to revolt. The people that was cutting deals was the Edomites, the wicked brews, the other nations, making deals with the Greeks, making deals with the Romans, making deals with the Arab. It's always the wicked people, our Black Caucus, our Boule, making rules, consignments, cutting deals, while our people still suffer. Man, say it ain't so. How did the forefathers deal with crime and sin? How'd they deal with it? What that Proverbs 28 say, Sister Christine? What that Proverbs 28 and 9 say? She threw that script in there. What it say? He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law is pressure. Yeah. What you praying for? You don't even keep no laws. Y'all, all Christians, all our people that are Christians, is the next holiday, the next time they can get off, the next time they can have a cookout, the next Sunday dinner at Big Mama house. Like, our people ain't worried about nothing going on, man. Most of our people are caught up in Greek fraternal orders and sororities and Eastern stars, and they get their orders from somebody other than the church. That's it. Our people big compromise. They see somebody die, they checking his affiliations. Was he one of ours? No, not this. It's their group. Was he one of our people? Right? Like what happened with that boy. What was that boy named down in Florida? Not Ahmaud Arbery. One of the first ones that got the people in an uproar. What was that boy named that got killed just going to the store? to get a drink. His daddy ended up being one of them people in the group, and it all just went away. Nothing ever happened to the killer. They probably all part of the same group, so he couldn't get justice for his son. Our people compromise, y'all. Our people condone sin. Our people condone crime. Yeah, Trayvon Martin, yeah, his daddy and his mama probably all up in them organizations. I'm not talking about the church. I'm talking about the other organization that is a religious organization that sits above the church, that sits above Christianity. Yeah, them people. Romans chapter 13. Let's go see again. This is the brainwash, y'all. Why y'all think it's all over? This during New Testament, you can't find no garbage in the Old Testament. Romans chapter 13, verse 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. This is some double talk, man. He ordained a king of Israel. But now these Christians replace the Israelites. Christianity replaced the Torah. Now their leaders pretend to follow Jesus, but they don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Verse 2, whosoever therefore resisteth the powers. See, they had to say that your governor, your mayor, your alderman, the one stealing, the one working with the drug dealer, the one raping little girls, the one in pedophilia, all these wicked officials, now Christianity tell us to obey them despite, because God, Jesus put them in place, because it ain't the creator. Whosoever resists these powers resisted the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Now you going to hell by not following your wicked alderman, your wicked councilman, your mayor, your wicked governor, the president out of order, your prime minister out of order, your sheik, your rabbi out of order, your moray out of order, and now you going to hell because you don't listen to them. They don't follow none of the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. They non-believers, you know they hand in the cookie jar, but you're going to go to hell if you don't obey their ordinance. Come on, y'all. Verse 3, for the rulers are not a terror to good works. They are a terror to terror, period. But to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So our councilmen, governors, presidents, we only gonna be in their favor if we do what they say. If we distance 6 feet, if we put masks on our face, if we go get vaccinated, even though now they saying that vaccination is killing people, that shot killing people, but now because you can't go to work without getting that shot, but now what's the reparations for the people that took the shot and they died, their husband died, their mama died, their big mama died, all these coaches, all these players falling dead on the, what? Come on now, follow the laws in the land, get you killed. Verse 4, for he is the minister of God. Who? The wicked leaders that forced us to do something abominable to ourselves that now 4 or 5 years later we finding out is killing you. It's literally causing blood clots and making people drop dead. From the shot, from the boosters, from the all that. What happens to the hospitals and the clinics and the people that are pushing that poison? For he is the minister of God to thee for good. No, they're not. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Man, we in trouble. We're in trouble with this Christianity. Now we see it played out in our lives, right? Let's see what it's saying in this Bible version. In NLT, everyone must submit to the governing authorities, for all authority comes from God. No, it don't. And those in position of authority have been placed there by God. That's a lie. So who's saying they God? Jesus, the vicar of Christ, the pastors that are vicars of Christ that aren't Catholic, but they take the same authority as the popes and the priests. And like, what's going on here? Who's giving the authority? The Masonic order? Who? Dubule? Who? The Moroccan Empire, who giving authority? Because it's man giving authority, because this ain't God's authority. Because no, they're not following the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. So anyone who rebels against authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and they will be punished. For the authorities do not strike fear in people who are doing right, but in those who are doing wrong. Who would you like to live without fear of the authorities? Yes, we would love to live without fearing our authorities. Yes, we would love to live without fearing our authorities. Do what is right. What, y'all don't see this propaganda? Follow the sheriffs, follow the police, follow ICE, follow this, follow everything that's being going wrong so you don't go to hell. Do what is right and you will, and they will honor you. The authorities are God's servants sent for your good. But if you are doing wrong, of course, you should be afraid. I agree with that. That's what Torah say. But you shouldn't be afraid of all these authorities and all these people taking the being ordained and saying they have authority from God to do wicked things to us. Heck no. We should fear the Most High, for they have the power to punish you. They are God's servants sent for the very purpose of punishing those who do wrong. Come on, y'all. This is problematic doctrine right here. This is problematic doctrine. Look at this next slide. Y'all, look at all these. Look, if your kids is in public school, get your kids out of public school, man. Look at all these shooting deaths. Look at this. This is an epidemic. I don't even think this is the full map. When I looked at it, this only goes back, I think, in the last 10 years or whatever. But look at all these shootings. Universities, schools, Virginia Tech, Northern Illinois, Santa Fe High School. That was in Uvalde, I believe. Look at all these shootings. Look at all them deaths. Look at all them bodies. What should happen to the criminals or the sinners? Why are we arresting people and giving them 2, 3, 4 life sentences? Why should the criminal be allowed to live? Uh-oh. Raah done said something now. How you gonna have safety if the criminal is allowed to live, go to jail, come out, be a worse criminal? Why do believers have an issue with criminals getting a punishment? It might not even be a just punishment. But should not the wicked be punished? If the Most High punish you like a father punishes you, what about a criminal who don't follow no rules? Ain't nobody got nothing to say until he hit your house. Man out there running, killing, robbing, and stealing, and then the cops shoot him, and now all of a sudden we supposed to go march? Now we supposed to just forgive everybody? Nah, man, you only looking for money from a lawsuit from the death of your wicked child. Why ain't nobody saying what it is? Crumpton and all these lawyers are just following families, getting their percentage off of a lawsuit for a child dying that was committing a crime. Ain't nobody looking at it like, man, that might have been the just punishment from the Most High. Let's try to wrap this up, man. I done went longer than the longest. I knew this was going to be the longest. Let's go to Psalms 22. Psalms 22. Psalms 22 and 28. Psalms 22, verse 28. It says, "For the kingdom is the Most High's, and he is the governor among the nations." Saints, who we supposed to follow in conclusion? If we follow the Most High, we can't do wrong. We can't do wrong following the Most High law, statutes, and commandments. But we know if we don't follow his law, statutes, and commandments, property loss, bodily sickness, being excommunicated, kicked out of the camp of the people, death. All of these things was already on the table just by following the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. So why would we need a man to come and intermediate and intercede or be the mediator between God and man? And now we get all this compromising and we got all these criminals running amok. Now all of our government leaders is just like, hey, if justice ain't going to be served, I need to just get my money. Yeah, what we marching for? What we marching for? The death of criminals? What we need to change laws for? We need to change the laws to keep the criminals from being put back on the street. You know what would stop Man and Pookie and your relatives from committing crimes? For criminals not to be allowed back on the street. I don't care if they building prisons with moats, putting alligators in it, building all these prisons. Listen, if crime abounds, prisons abounds, I would say stop building prisons and just start getting rid of criminals. Oh, that's inhumane. You shouldn't say that. Well, what are you going to do? Just keep letting the criminals out on the street? How do you stop people from committing crime? How did the Most High stop people from committing crimes? What happened to the boy that didn't obey his parents? Stone. Oh, this ain't Old Testament. That's back in the day. Well, what do you do to kids now? You just letting your kids run amok, start beating up parents, shooting parents, beating up teachers, getting kicked out of the house, go to detention school. They just become worse and worse. How do you stop an unlawful and unholy child, saints? How do you keep a dishonorable kid from being dishonorable? I'm just asking you, how do you get your kids to obey? You got 3-4 kids. If the oldest don't obey, then the other 3 ain't gonna obey. It's the same way in the world, same way on the street. You kick your kid out on the street, he go finds other kids that haven't been obeying. They jump them into the gang, or they become a clique, a bunch of unruly people. And then when the National Guard or whoever come and sweep them up, why are we running the court? Ecclesiastes say unrighteous and ungodly kids should not take root. We've compromised and let ungodliness take root, y'all. We've allowed it to take root. We become numb to it. We become dumbed down to it. Now they created laws. Hey, now we got the people of the Most High sleep. You know, now they got us saying they going after our children. Listen, if the children is gone, it's your fault. You didn't train them and raise them up. You been gave them over to them. Why should ungodly? Oh, we need to give them a chance to change their ways. How much terror, how much hell, and how much crime, sin do they got to commit before they get a chance to turn from their wicked ways? How long have you seen? How many kids that just go to detention and go to jail change their ways? The scared straight don't even work no more. These kids got evil in them. How did they get evil in them? Who's going to clean up our family? Who's going to clean up our community? Who's going to clean up the mess? If we ain't doing it, saints, the Most High got to get somebody else to do it. And I'm just tired of our people jumping into business we ain't got nothing to do with. Who unalived Charlie Kirk? Who did it? Who didn't do it? Why is the Black community even talking about it? That's white on white violence. What does that got to do with us? And how did all of a sudden our Black HBCUs become a threat because a white kid, so-called unalived, a white activist? What does that got to do with us? Why do y'all even care what the other nations say? I'm more worried about what our people or people that look like us, because we got some imposters around us that are pretending to be us, that are pretending to have the culture and be the same people, and they the threat to us. When you look at them and you be like, hey man, where your people from? What nation of people? Your people ain't from the South? Your people ain't from Alabama, Mississippi, nowhere. Where your people from? You don't look like one of us. You talk like one of us, you dressing like one of us. Well, maybe you've been sent here by the colonizer to infiltrate and take us out. Y'all, we got a problem within. They got us talking about without, while those that look like us that ain't us within is taking all our resources and taking us out. You got to research who you are and where you from, because it's a whole bunch of immigrants. There's a lot of immigrants in the U.S. that look like you and me, but they don't have no roots here in the Americas. Crime is everywhere. You got to get crime out of your house. And I'm asking, why y'all worried about ICE, National Guard, and all this and all that? And y'all not even worried about the crime or sin being committed in your own house? Have you become a sympathizer, a compromiser, condoner of sin, crime, sin, potato, take your pick. Have you become numb and sleep to the judgments of the Most High? Man got his own judgments, may not be righteous. They say they got him off of the commandments. I don't see it. They got a lot of amendments to amendments to amendments. And they got ways to let themselves off while we get the harshest of the punishment. All right, I'm going to back out. Time is ticking. I done went long. I done seen a 1 hour mark. Oh, my goodness. Day 6. Man, my little baby this morning said time is flying. Did not this Tabernacle week just fly by? We're getting to the end, y'all. Stay tuned for the next, I can't even say short lesson. No, this is probably the length of lesson y'all want, but man, this is not short. But I pray I said something that helps somebody. Like it, share it with your family members. Till tomorrow, Most High say the same. I'll come to you again. Y'all be blessed. Enjoy your last couple of tabernacling days together with the family. Make memories. I love y'all. Be safe. Till the next one. Shalom.